Microscopic organisms called phytoplankton are like an invisible forest teeming with life and the foundation of the aquatic world. They're the base of the food web, the primary producers that feed everything else. But this microscopic community has a dual nature. Some phytoplankton are beneficial algae, the bedrock of a healthy ecosystem. Others, like certain cyanobacteria, can erupt into harmful blooms, producing toxins that can sicken wildlife and people. So how do we know what's really going on down there? How do scientists read the story of a lake to understand its health and its risks? It's a detective story, a process of asking three fundamental questions: who's living there, who's gaining power, and just how big is the crowd? The investigation often starts with a quick scan using electronic sensors to measure pigments in the water. One of the most common targets is chlorophyll A. It's a green pigment found in all true algae, so measuring it gives a rough estimate of the total amount of algae in the water. Higher chlorophyll A generally means more algae.
But this quick scan has a critical blind spot. Chlorophyll A sensors cannot detect phycocyanin, a special blue-green pigment used by cyanobacteria. This means a lake could be on the verge of a dangerous cyanobacteria bloom, and a simple chlorophyll A test might miss the warning signs completely. To get a slightly better picture, you can measure both chlorophyll A and phycocyanin together. This combination gives a much better estimate of the total quantity of microscopic life. It's like the games has started, but you still don't know which teams are on the field or who's winning. To really understand the game, scientists have to go deeper. This is where the real detective work begins, with a method called taxonomic analysis. It starts with collecting a water sample. Back in the lab, that water sample goes under a high-powered microscope. Here, scientists become phytoplankton profilers. They meticulously identify each group based on its unique characteristics: its shape, its size, its cellular structure, whether it forms colonies or long filaments, and its distinct pigmentation. You can think of this as identifying all the different animals in a zoo. The diatoms, with their intricate glass-like shells, are counted separately from the vibrant green algae.
The tiny swimming cryptophytes are distinguished from the golden-brown chrysophytes. And crucially, the cyanobacteria are identified and tallied. This detailed process reveals the exact species composition, the who of the lake. The analysis goes even further when cyanobacteria are present. Scientists can use genetic analysis to look for the specific genes responsible for producing toxins, and chemical tests to measure the toxins themselves, confirming not just the presence of a suspect, but whether it's actually armed and dangerous. Knowing who's in the lake is step one. Step two is understanding the power dynamics within that community. This is measured through relative abundance. After identifying and counting everything, scientists calculate what percentage of the total community each group makes up. For example, a healthy lake might be 40% diatoms, 35% beneficial green algae, and only 20% cyanobacteria. This is the community's balance sheet. To go back to our zoo metaphor, it's like asking, what proportion of the animals are reptiles and what proportion are mammals? This measurement is a powerful early warning system. Even a small increase in the proportion of cyanobacteria, say from 20% to 30%, is a major red flag. It shows they are gaining a foothold. The third piece of the puzzle is the total phytoplankton population. This is simply the total number of phytoplankton in the water, often measured as a total cell count or biovolume. In our zoo, this is like asking, how many animals are there altogether? A rising total population often means higher overall algae growth. This can lead to its own set of problems, like increased organic sediment building up on the lake bottom, and the potential for oxygen levels to crash as all that organic matter decomposes. Separately, each of these measurements gives you a clue,
But together, they tell the complete story. First, taxonomy answers, who's there? Second, relative abundance answers, who's gaining or losing power in the community? And third, total population answers, how big is the entire phytoplankton community? A single snapshot in time is useful, but the real narrative emerges from tracking these metrics over time. Regular sampling, weekly, monthly, or seasonally, turns that single photo into a motion picture, revealing trends that can help predict the future of the lake. This progression of data tells a very clear story of risk. The first warning sign is when cyanobacteria are identified in the taxonomic analysis. The risk starts rising when the relative abundance of those cyanobacteria begins to climb. And when the blooms become dense and the total phytoplankton population soars, a harmful algal bloom is likely already underway. These dramatic shifts don't happen in a vacuum. They are often driven by environmental triggers like organic sediment accumulation and increasing volumes of hypoxic water and dead zones, which can give fast-growing cyanobacteria a competitive edge over more beneficial algae. To truly understand a lake's phytoplankton community, scientists need the full story.
It requires more than what simple sensors can provide. It requires the precision of taxonomy to identify the players, the context of relative abundance to understand the balance of power, and the scale of total population to gauge the overall productivity. And our ability to read this story is constantly improving. New technologies are coming online, like an automated underwater microscope that captures high-resolution images of phytoplankton in real time. Drones equipped with hyperspectral sensors can fly over a lake, detecting the unique light signatures of different algal groups from the air, offering a bird's-eye view to complement the data from below. These measurements, from the classic microscope to the autonomous sensor, are not just abstract data points. They are the language of the lake. By learning to read this language, scientists can diagnose problems, predict risks, and guide actions to preserve the health of these vital freshwater ecosystems. They reveal the real, dynamic, and often dramatic story happening just beneath the surface.
Knowing what is in the water is the first step toward fixing it. Now that we can diagnose the problem, how do we solve it? Join us for Lesson 9, Healing from the Bottom, where we examine why many common sense fixes fail and how we can work with nature to heal a lake from the bottom up. To go to the next lesson, use the link below, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and share.